Hi there! I decided I wanted to do a tutorial on how to make a corset storage bag. So first I picked out the fabric that I wanted, which is this brocade, and it was just enough for the amount that I need. First you have to take the corset that you want to make for the bag, and you want to measure the height of the corset at the longest point and the width at the longest point. And in this case that's 12 by 13 inches. So what you want to do is have the longest part of your bag, that's going to be the part that hangs down like this way. So the corset will be in the bag and this part will fold up. So when I measure it, I have my tape measure here. You want to double the height of the corset because I'm going to be folding the fabric up. So that makes 24 inches, but I want to have a couple extra inches at the top. So then I just measured it and I made it 26 inches, and then I want to add an extra 8 inches for a flap I'm going to have that will go over the hanger, if you've seen my other video of what this bag looks like finished. And I'm going to use my ruler to straighten out the edges and, oh yes, measure the width of course too. I want to do 1/2 inch seam allowances, and I'm going to measure it and then I'll come back. So here you can see I drew out straight lines of where I'm going to be cutting. I measured the length that I wanted, and then I put my corset in and folded up to the length it's going to be the opening, and it wasn't quite long enough, so I added a couple inches on and now it's where I need it. And then I added the 8 inches for the flap and plus all the seam allowances, and I also made this about 15 inches wide just so there's extra room at the sides for the corset and the seam allowances. So now I'm going to take my scissors here, can't think of what these are called, but it'll keep the fabric from fraying because this is brocade and it loves to fray. So I'm going to go cut that out and then I'll come back. Now the next step you only have to do if you have a fabric that is very frayable, such as brocade. There's other ones out there you'll know once you cut it. So I use my scissors to help, the special kind that helps prevent it from fraying, and then I have fray check here that you apply to the edges that will fray, and it hardens sort of like a glue, and then they won't fray anymore. There's different brands out there. This one I just happen to have, and it has this nice applicator tip where you put the ends into it while you squeeze, so then a thin layer will coat both sides of your fabric, and then you let it dry, and it doesn't take too long to dry. I think it took like maybe 20 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and apply that to both sides and then I'll come back. Okay, now that my fray stop is dry, you can see that it has changed colors a little bit. You have to be really careful when you apply this stuff, so it could change the color of your fabric or stain it. So you want to test in a scrap first, but I already knew that would happen. Since this will be in the seam allowances, that won't make a difference, but now it won't fray. So the next step is to take one of the shorter ends and we're going to fold it over 1/2 inch and sew a straight line across it because this will be the end tucked in at the top when you insert your corset. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I have the top of the bag sewn, so I'm going to make sure that right sides are together. This is the long way. I want to bring this bag up to the measurement we had earlier so that there's 8 inches plus the seam allowances left, and then I'm going to pin down the sides and sew up the sides. Now I have my bag flipped right side out, and I used a turning tool to poke out the corners and make them nice and square. Next, what you want to do is pin down these two edges and just sew a straight line. Now I have both my edges sewn up, and the next step I like to do all in one. I like to take the raw edge, fold it over all the way across, and then I'm going to pin it right at the edge here where this bag will open, and sew a straight line across, and make sure that you don't sew across this bag, otherwise you won't be able to get your corset in. So now your bag should look complete, except for we need to add some either some snaps or buttons or whatever you want to use, and I'm using magnetic snaps to attach so you can hang up your corset. What I did already was take a ruler and measure out where I want to put my snaps, and I decided to do 1 inch up and 3 inches in from each side, so it's kind of symmetrical. And I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and slide it inside the bag underneath where I want to put my snaps, and I'm going to take the male side and line it up. And I'm also going to use a little piece of interfacing to strengthen it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this on the inside, but I'm just using it to cut through it. I'm going to use my little cutter here, and I'm going to line up where the lines are and just push down and cut through, and then I'll show you once I cut through what I'm going to do next. So now I have made 2 tiny cuts on the interfacing and the fabric, and I'm going to take the interfacing and place it inside, and then I'm going to put this through the holes on the outside, and then this piece that came with it through the prongs on the inside, and then you open up the prongs away from each other to hold it in place. So you're going to do that for both sides, and then you're going to use the female half on here to complete it. So when you get to that part, you're just going to take the flap when you have this installed, and you fold it over, and then you measure where you want, where it's lining up, so then you will place a mark there, and then you'll do the same installation for that one. Now that your snaps have been installed, all you have to do is add a hanger with a bottom bar and your corset, and that's all. Thanks for watching.